Welcome back to Unfiltered Mindset. If you're new here, subscribe, because here we don't sugarcoat life. We understand it. Today we're talking about something many people don't realize shaped their entire personality. Not money, not talent, not even trauma in the obvious sense, but how you were raised. More specifically, what happens to a child who grows up under strict parenting. Not loving discipline, not guidance with warmth, but control, fear, obedience without explanation. Strict parenting often looks like high rules, high pressure, and low emotional safety. You're told what to do, but rarely told why. You're corrected, but rarely comforted. You're expected to obey, but not allowed to feel. And when a child grows up like that, something quiet begins to happen inside their mind. They stop learning how to regulate themselves and start learning how to survive authority. You don't build an inner compass, you build a fear detector. You don't ask, "Is this right?" You ask, "Will I get in trouble?" That's the first hidden damage. A child raised with strict control doesn't develop internal discipline, they develop external dependence. They behave not because they understand values, but because they're afraid of punishment. So when no one is watching, they feel lost, confused, or secretly rebellious, because no one ever taught them how to guide themselves from the inside. Now let's talk about emotions. In a strict home, emotions are often treated like weaknesses. Crying is called drama, anger is called disrespect, fear is called stupidity. So the child learns a dangerous lesson. Don't feel, don't express, don't show. And when emotions aren't allowed to move, they don't disappear. They turn inward, or they explode outward. That's why many people raised by strict parents either become emotionally numb or emotionally reactive. They don't know how to sit with sadness. They don't know how to process anger. They don't know how to name what they feel. They just feel too much or nothing at all. And that emotional confusion follows them into adulthood. It becomes anxiety. It becomes overthinking. It becomes panic over small mistakes. Because when love felt conditional, the nervous system learned safety depends on being perfect. Now let's talk about self-esteem. In strict homes, love often feels earned. You're praised when you perform, you're valued when you obey, you're noticed when you succeed. So the child grows up believing, my worth depends on how well I meet expectations. Not who I am, not how I feel, not what I need. So they become adults who apologize too much, who fear disappointing people, who chase approval, who overwork themselves, who feel guilty for resting. Because deep down, they still feel like love must be earned. And here's the part nobody talks about. Strict parenting doesn't always create strong children. Sometimes it creates anxious ones. Sometimes it creates aggressive ones. Sometimes it creates people who look disciplined on the outside, but are breaking on the inside. Because when a child isn't allowed to understand rules, they don't internalize values. They internalize fear. And fear is not a good teacher. Fear doesn't teach wisdom, it teaches survival. Now look at relationships. Children raised with harsh control often develop insecure attachment. They grow up unsure if love is safe, unsure if closeness leads to comfort or punishment. So they either cling too hard, they push people away, they struggle to trust, they fear abandonment, or they become emotionally distant. Because when your first experience of authority was fear, intimacy later feels dangerous. And here's the long-term effect. People raised under strict, emotionally cold parenting often struggle with anxiety disorders, depression, poor cognitive flexibility, poor emotional intelligence, difficulty solving problems, trouble adapting to change. Not because they're weak, but because they were trained to obey, not to think. They were taught rules, not reasoning. They were controlled, not guided. Now, let me say something important. Discipline is not the problem. Control without connection is. True discipline teaches a child how to regulate themselves. It explains, it listens, it corrects with care. But strict parenting just demands compliance without understanding. It creates adults who either rebel without direction or succeed without peace. And if you were raised like this, you're not broken. You're patterned. Your nervous system learned survival before safety. Your mind learned fear before freedom. Your heart learned obedience before self-trust. But here's the truth. You can unlearn it. You can build self-regulation. You can develop emotional intelligence. You can learn to discipline yourself from the inside, not the outside. You can stop living to avoid punishment and start living by purpose. If this video felt like it was talking about you, then maybe it's time to stop surviving your childhood and start rewriting your adulthood. This is Unfiltered Mindset, and if this hit deep, you already know what to do. Subscribe, because here, we don't just talk about life, we understand it.